Alrighty, so now let's talk a little bit about acoustic Western guitars and kind of the differences between them and what to kind of look for. So you have probably noticed, if you shopped around a little bit for acoustic guitars, that they're in all kinds of different price ranges. So you have really cheap ones, and then you have really expensive ones. So you can go from 200 bucks to 2,000 bucks. All right, so let me just really explain really quickly what makes them more expensive and what to kind of look for when shopping for an acoustic guitar. So the main deal about acoustic guitars, if you want to spend a little bit more money, is that the expensive ones will have what's called solid wood. So they will have a solid top, they will have a solid sides, and they'll have a solid back. So normally in the description it will say solid top, back, and sides. And those guitars normally you won't really find for under 500 bucks. All right? The cheaper ones, on the other hand, are laminated. So they have laminated wood. And that means is that in the factories, they take the sawdust and glue it together, right? So you're not going to have the same resonance as you will with a solid piece of wood, because this is one piece of wood here. And the laminated ones are just fake wood, you could almost say, glued together wood. So that's really why the price ranges change and what to look for. So there is kind of a third option, and that's also a pretty good option if you don't have a big budget, you want to spend 300 bucks maybe, let's say. You could get laminated sides and back, but you can have a solid top on the top. So often you'll see solid top in the description. And normally what that means is that only the top is solid and the sides and back are laminated. So that's really the main thing to look for when you're shopping for an acoustic. And that's what's going to make the price change, go up or down. So one more thing that is kind of dear to me is kind of the size of the acoustic that you get. So this acoustic guitar is called a 00 size. Normally you'll see it like in the folk section, like a folk acoustic guitar. So you kind of have what's called either a double M, a triple, or a OM. So 00, triple O, or OM. And that'll kind of have this shaped body on it, all right? The other really major guitar is what's called a dreadnought. And I'll put pictures probably up here so you can kind of see the spectrum of the different sizes. So this is kind of a folk guitar. You could either get a 00, triple O, or OM. It basically all means the same thing. A triple O is going to have a slightly bigger kind of back side to it. 00, like this one, is going to have a slightly smaller back side. So the difference there then is the sound. So the smaller guitars, like the 00s or even the triple O's, are going to be quieter. They're not going to be as loud. They're not going to have as much of a roar to them when you play them. Now the other opposite, and what's sold very, very often, is what's called a dreadnought. So if you watch Paul McCartney playing Blackbird, he's always playing on a dreadnought. Dreadnoughts are really, really great, but they're also really big. So it's much bigger and you don't have this nice curve here, okay? Which means it won't sit as nicely on your lap. Plus it's much higher up, so you kind of have to climb over it to play a little bit. I had a dreadnought, so I know what I'm talking about. And for me, they're just not as comfortable to play. If you play for a couple of hours, it really starts to get in your way and it's just not as comfortable. It's louder, but it's not as comfortable. So I normally recommend that my students get one of these folk guitars, either a 00, triple O, or they're called OMs sometimes. And that way it'll sit really nicely in your lap. It won't be as loud, but loud enough for my ears. The best thing is to kind of go and try it out in the music store and see what works for you. but just be warned about the dreadnought size, because I didn't know that when I was buying mine. So I was totally blind, as you probably are now too. So try them out, kind of keep that in mind and see what works for you. Again, the dreadnoughts sound amazing. I love the dreadnoughts. It's just that they're not as comfortable to play. So depending on your situation and how close you are to a music store, keep that in mind when you are making your choice. Choose wisely. All right, so that is kind of what you need to know about acoustic guitars as far as just the basics, what to look for, the main, just the main things to look for. All right, so I really hope that this video has given you some insight to the world of acoustic guitars. One more thing maybe is the pickup systems. Normally, if you spend $300, $400, $500, it will come with a pickup system. So you'll just be able to plug it in normally and play it the same as you would with an electric guitar. You're not going to have distortion. It's not going to have a good distorted sound like an electric will, but you'll have a nice kind of clean acoustic-y sound on just a clean setting on an amp. All right, so that was the short little lesson here on acoustic guitars. I'll see you in the next lesson. Thanks for watching this one. Bye-bye.